then what we can do. Okay, Jai Baba, guys. Happy New Year. We're in 2023, our first session. I wanted to start us off with the prayers, as we always do, and then that'll give some folks, some time to join in. We have our first guest here already, who's Kirtana, who's my sister, actually. And you guys, she'll be going over some cool things with you guys. I'll let her explain everything so that I don't misspeak. But before that, let's get started. And I want to, where's my share screen? Zoom changed a little bit this year, so I'm a little, I'm struggling a little bit. Okay, I think this is it. All right. So who wants to start with the prayers?
I can. O Parvatigar, the preserver and protector of all, you are without beginning and without end, non-dual, beyond comparison, and none can measure you. You are without color, without expression, without form, and without attributes. You are unlimited and unfathomable, beyond imagination and conception, eternal and imperishable. You are indivisible, and none can see you but with eyes divine. You always were, you always are, and you always will be. You are everywhere. You are in everything. And you are also beyond everywhere and beyond everything. You are in the firmament and in the depths. You are manifest and unmanifest on all planes and beyond all planes. You are in the three worlds and also beyond the three worlds. You are imperceptible and independent. You are the creator of lords, knower of all minds and hearts. You are omnipotent and omnipresent. Your knowledge infinite, power infinite, and bliss infinite. You are the ocean of knowledge, all-knowing, infinitely knowing, the knower of the past, the present, and future. You are knowledge itself. You are all merciful and eternally benevolent. You are souls of souls, one with infinite attributes. You are the trinity of truth, knowledge, and bliss. You are the source of truth, the ocean of love. You are the ancient one, the highest of the high. You are Prabhu and Parameshwar. You are beyond God and beyond God also. You are Brahma, Allah, Ilahi, Yazdan, our Mazda, and God the Beloved. You are named Izzat, the only one worthy of worship.
Thank you, Srinidhi. Who wants to read the prayer of repentance?
I can.
Okay.
We repent, O God, most merciful, flowering saint, thought that is false and just or unclean. For every word spoken that are not having spoken. For every deed done that are not having done. We repent for every deed and word and thought inspired by selfishness, and for every deed and word and thought inspired by hatred. We repent most especially for every lustful thought and every lustful action, for every lie, for all hypocrisy, for every promise given but not fulfilled, and for all slander and backbiting. Most especially also, repent for every action that has brought ruin to others, for every word and deed that has given us pain, and very wish the pain to befall others. In your abundant mercy, we ask you to forgive us, O God, for all these sins committed by us, and to forgive us for constant failures to think and speak and act according to your will.
Thank you, Jai Baba. Who wants to read the Beloved God prayer? Srinika, do you want to give it a try?
Yeah. Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more, more and more, and more, and still yet more till we become worthy of union till the very end.
With you. You skipped a line.
With you. And help us all to hold fast in Baba's, what's Daman till the very end.
Okay. Thank you, guys. All right, I'm going to stop sharing screen. Uh-oh. Where'd it go? Oh. Wait. Hang on, guys. Why won't it let me stop sharing? Okay, there it is. Okay, so As you know, today we have my sister, but before we get started, I just wanted to quickly say Happy New Year, and I wanted to, talk to you, folks about how your break was real quick, and then do you have any like New Year resolutions and stuff like that? And actually, why don't you introduce yourselves, because she's also, I don't think she's met everybody here. I think she knows Meher, but I don't think she knows Srinidhi and Shrinika. So let's start with you girls.
Hi, my name is Srinidhi. I live in Colorado. I'm in 8th grade.
My name is Shrinika, and I play the violin and the piano.
And what grade are you in?
A 2nd grade.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And I think you know the rest of them, right, Kirtu?
I think so. Meher, do you want to share a little bit about yourself? And of course, Sahu and Soham too, just so everybody gets a chance.
Yeah, sure. So I live in Farmington, Connecticut, and I'm in 7th grade.
Okay. Soham Sahana?
I'm Soham. I'm 15. I'm in 9th grade.
Thanks, Soham. Thanks, Meher.
Your
Sahu,
turn, Sahana.
Well, Vinny, you already know who I am, but like, I mean, yeah. So, yeah, there's really nothing to it.
Okay. Kirtu, do you want to get started or? Okay.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Kirtana. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm coming from the unceded territory of the Piscataway tribe and the Piscataway Kanoi tribe, colonized as Pasadena, Maryland. I am a lawyer. I'm a parent. I'm a yoga practitioner. I'm a runner. And all of these are, of course, different roles or hats that I have voluntarily chosen to wear. And, being a yoga practitioner touches each one of those roles in many ways than one. And I want to say that, a lot of times when we think of yoga, we always think of really cool poses that people do on Instagram, right? Or if you Google yoga, you'll see some really complicated headstands or handstands. And I wanted to share with you all today that yoga is so much more than that. We often think of it as a workout, something maybe you do for 60 minutes in a class. Rather, I'm here to share with you all that yoga is a work in. And that is something that I have learned in reading not only the ancient, scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita or the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, but also practicing with a lot of Indian and Black yoga practitioners. And Anjali Rao, who is an incredible yoga practitioner based in California, has shared that yoga is just more than what we do. It's who we are. And today I was hoping to share with you all 2 pranayama practices. So pranayama is breath work, and in Sanskrit, prana means life force, and yama is sort of that philosophy, right? It's how do you channel connecting to that life force that travels throughout your body, and to really tap into it so that whatever stressor you're experiencing, whatever difficult moment you may be going through, you can come back to your breath, you can come back to your body and remind yourself that you're fine, that yes, this is a really difficult moment, but if you breathe through it, or if you practice some sort of other type of grounding technique, that you will be able to work through that challenge. So I'm going to pause there and just see if any of you all had any questions before moving on to a little bit more about those two breath practices.
Do you guys have any questions? I'm actually curious to ask what since we have a small crowd, what their actual thoughts were on what yoga is.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, what do you all think? What does yoga mean to you? If you
I
feel,
always kind of just thought of it as like stretching.
yeah.
What about you, Meher?
I guess like a spiritual exercise.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Meher and Soham.
What about Srinidhi and Shrinika?
So, maybe like a lot of breathing and stuff. Like my dad and my grandpa do yoga. My grandpa wakes up at 5 in the morning and does yoga for at least an hour every day. So, he usually just like meditates and sometimes does poses. But yeah.
Yeah.
What
Maybe
about
it's
you?
like stretching or relaxing.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, any of you have a little bit of, have you done yoga before?
Well, what about Sahu? Sahu, do you have anything to share about what you think yoga is?
I think it's like, well, I think it's kind of like being in the moment and like you could like, well, I mean, I think it's meditation. Wait, I'm really confused.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah. So all of your answers are parts of yoga, right? So, Patanjali, who was a very, like one of sort of the, I don't want to say the first teachers of yoga because, yoga dates back to thousands and thousands of years ago. But in the Yoga Sutras, sutra meaning thread, and yoga. So yoga, if you look at the root word in Sanskrit, it comes from the root word of yug, Y-U-G. And yug means union of. So yoga, adding the essentially helps remind us that there's this union that has to happen of our mind and body and understanding our internal landscape so that whatever's happening outside in our external landscape, we still find that steadiness of our mind and body to be able to respond rather than react. Because when we respond, we're, taking our time, understanding what's going on, and then saying or acting or doing what we need to do versus reacting where we may not have thought things through and we're saying the first thing that comes to our lips, or we're doing the first thing that our body wants us to do. And yoga is all of those things that you all mentioned. So there's 8 limbs, and that's why it's called Ashtanga, Asht meaning 8. And there's 8 limbs of yoga. So the first 2 limbs are yamas and niyamas. Yamas meaning sort of moral ethics of ahimsa, meaning non-harm, satya, truth, brahmacharya, restraining of our energy levels, ashteya, non-stealing. And then you have niyamas, which are personal observations. So like things that we can do internally in addition to the yamas. So things like saucha, which is purifying our internal states, santosha, contentment, swadhyaya, self-study. Those are some of the examples of niyamas. And then our third limb is actually asana, which is the physical poses that we commonly think of when we think of yoga. And in Sanskrit, asan translates into to sit for. So all of those poses that we practice, the physical poses, are a way to steady our mind so that we can then sit for our meditation practice. So it's sort of a, I want to maybe a prerequisite, or, the level 1 of what you need to do before you can sit for meditation. And then after asana comes pranayama. So again, because we're steadying the physical body, we can then sit and practice pranayama, breath work. And then, so that's the 4th limb. The 5th limb is dharana, focus. So oftentimes, in order to focus, sometimes we learn, focus on one thing. So like maybe find something that you really enjoy, like a favorite rock or a candle, or any sort of object, so that if you're looking at it, you're not distracted by what's going on around you. And so when you pair your pranayama, your breath work, with dharana, it then helps you go to the next, the 7th limb, which is dhyana. And that's the meditation. So again, all of this is laying that groundwork so that you can get to that meditative state. And then eventually the 8th limb is samadhi, or enlightenment. And of course, that looks so different for all of us, right? Depending on where we are, how old we are, what experiences we're having in life. Samadhi can be so different for us. It's not, oftentimes we think of, enlightenment as being able to float above the ground, or, being able to do some sort of like magical thing. And maybe it's that, we don't know. But it's very, very individual for each of us. And so having these 8 limbs come together, that is the practice of yoga. So something that I always remind myself is that yoga is something that you are, right? It's that internal state of how you are, how you show up, so that the external state around you isn't going to change that internal state, that steadiness, that confidence, because you're using each limb in order to respond to what's going on around you.
Do you guys have any questions? Do you understand what she's saying?
Kind of.
And to your point, Sahu, the whole, yoga is, when you said it's about being in the moment, that's like one of the biggest things that yoga encourages you to do, right? To be in the present moment, to accept how things are, rather than worrying about what happened before, what's going to happen after, because you can't change what happened before you, right? And you don't know what's going to happen in the future. So yoga is really about being in that present moment and connecting connecting the mind with the body to then go through whatever situation you're going through.
So do you guys face any like difficult situations in that, you can think of maybe?
Do you feel comfortable sharing anything that you're experiencing?
That you want to share? Yeah, absolutely.
And if nothing comes to mind, that's okay.
Okay, maybe you can think about it later, and then say, oh, okay, maybe I do feel like, I don't know, when something happens, right? So, all right, let's move on.
Okay. So today I was hoping to share with you all 2 pranayama practices. So I will tell you about them, and then we'll get a chance to practice them. So that way you can maybe add these 2 little tools to your toolbox when, if you're experiencing any sort of anxiousness, like say preparing for a test or taking a test, or if you have a lot of homework or projects, and you're trying to wonder, which one do you do first. These will help you maybe steady your mind a little bit and, support you in that process. So the first pranayama practice, and it's the sort of the first one that we tend to learn, is called Samavriti. And sama meaning same or equal, vritti meaning fluctuations of our mind. And so Samavriti means equal parts or equal fluctuations. And I know like the English version of it doesn't translate quite well, but it basically encourages you to breathe inhale for say 4 counts, and then exhale for 4 counts, which is so you match your inhale and your exhale. And what it does is, in instances if you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed, or maybe even, you're breathing through your chest and you're feeling maybe a little disconnected from the situation that you're in, Samavriti reminds you that if you can rely on your breath, or you can connect to your breath, that you may start to notice a shift in that anxiousness feeling or that overwhelming feeling, because it tends to help you get out of breathing up here and breathing from your entire lungs and belly and pelvis, so that you feel that connection. And you'll start to maybe notice a shift in your level of being overwhelmed or anxious. So I will explain, I will actually show you, and then we'll practice about 5 rounds today, just so that, and of course this is all optional. If you want to turn your camera off when you're practicing, you can. So if you'd like, you can find a comfortable seat. So if that's sitting, crisscross applesauce, if that's sitting in a chair, if you want to lie down, you can, whatever you feel most comfortable with. And if you're just going to sit, what I want to invite you to do is to really lengthen your spine. So imagine that there's a string at the top of your head and it's pulling you up, so that your spine is nice and long. And then you bring your shoulders away from your ears, and then you can let your hands fall wherever, if they fall on your lap or if they fall next to you, on both sides of your legs, wherever. And then if you'd like, you can start to look in front of you at a non-moving point. And you can bring your gaze there, maybe soften your eyes a little bit if that feels supportive. Or if you'd like, you can close your eyes and then just start to notice how you're breathing. Do you notice if your breathing is maybe shallow, just up here? Or is your breathing maybe a bit deeper? And then maybe after 2 or 3 rounds of noticing your breath, we'll start to practice Samavriti. And then you can always place your hands, one hand on your heart, maybe one hand below your belly button if that feels comfortable. And I will count us in the count of 4. But know that you can go fewer counts on your inhale and exhale. So when you're ready, inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Now return to your natural breath pattern. And just notice how Samavriti felt. Do you notice a change? Any sensations or feelings that you had? And if nothing comes to mind, that's okay. You may notice that shift later on.
When you say sensations, maybe you can explain that a little bit.
Sure. Sensations can be really different, right? So for all of us, we can feel them in various parts of our body. So I always like to think of it as like little flutters that maybe comes off as like a tingling, like little needles or prickles, or maybe if you have a tight muscle, you might notice that sensation because in your breath, when you're focusing on your breath, other parts of your body might try to speak to you, right? Almost like trying to distract you. So sensations are something that kind of pop up like physically in your body or even mentally. So like a thought that pops up. That's something that you can observe and ask like, I wonder why I had that thought. What does that mean? And it's almost as if you want to observe them like they weren't yours, because, our thoughts just pop up all the time, right? And there's just a way to look at, oh, that's what I was really feeling, or that's what I've been really thinking about. I just didn't realize that. So that's sort of what sensations are. And it can be different for all of us, right? So if any of you feel comfortable sharing, how did you find that practice of Samavriti? What did you notice? Did you like it?
It was very relaxing.
Okay, tell me more, Soham.
So like kind of when you like breathe in, you kind of like settle down, and then when you breathe out, it kind of lets everything go.
Yeah. Did you feel yourself maybe like letting go of something on that exhale?
Not really, but it just kind of felt like, I don't know, just felt nice.
Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing.
Do you have anybody else who wants to share how this experience was?
It was also really
Also
relaxing.
felt like relaxing.
Okay. Yeah, so that's something that you can incorporate whenever you want, right? Like when you wake up in the morning and maybe before getting ready for school, when things kind of feel rushed, right? That's one way to do it. And you can do 1 round, you can do 3, 5, how many ever you want. There's no particular number of rounds that you have to do. It's really, really individual. So, you could do it then, or if you're about to take a test and you feel, that tightness in your chest, or your palms are starting to get sweaty as the teacher is handing out the test paper, if that's something that y'all do, or if everything's on the computer, I don't know. So again, like any of those instances, or if you're about to do a presentation and you in front of your class, you can do a quick very quiet round. Nobody has to know. You know, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you may notice just that little bit of ease of letting go of some of that nervousness, or, you know, feeling of overwhelm. So yeah, something to try.
Also, maybe like in the middle of a quiz or a test, sometimes when you're
Or in the
stuck
middle,
on an
yeah, if you
answer.
run into a problem that you don't, or a question that you made, you don't remember. Yeah, that's a great example too.
Yeah, I certainly wish I knew how to do these things when I was taking class. But you know, there's an interesting fact, because at my work, there's a product that also does what's called microbiome, which is your gut bacteria, which is like, you know, down there. And, you know, that microbiome where we have our, you know, like our everything, right? Like your stomach, your intestines and all of that. It's really important to maintain good health there because that results in good health everywhere. So how many of you guys have like stomach pain when you, or your stomach feels tight before you, like I said, take a test, or you have, like, you know, so we were talking about it because I was talking to one of the ladies who, you know, is a sales, like, you know, lead on that. And they're talking about how this gut microbiome now is helping a lot of these patients who have issues with their gut to, you know, to get better. So with that said, I think also maybe incorporating these breaths in our daily life will help us kind of restore that calmness, because then your gut is not like, oh my God, in panic.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, they've, you know, research is showing that your gut is your second brain. Mm-hmm. And it is closely tied to any, you know, it's influences and is influenced by your emotions, your thoughts, your external stressors. And that's, you know, the sister science to yoga is Ayurveda. And so in Ayurveda, there's so, you know, this is thousands and thousands of years old from, you know, India, a science that's been proven for thousands of years from Southeast Asia and India. And it talks about just how all of your, whatever physical manifestations or physical symptoms you have can usually be linked to what you're eating, what you're not eating, what you're drinking, what you're not drinking, and how your gut is. And all the emotions that you have too can be either causing microbiome or gut issues, or be caused by what's happening in your gut. So it's very, very powerful. And yeah, I mean, pranayama is just one tool to manage you know, some of those anxiousness or feelings of overwhelm on a day-to-day basis.
All right, thank you, Kirti. Sorry, I just wanted to share that.
Oh, that's great.
It was a recent conversation I just had about a couple of days ago. No,
it's a great ad. And I will say the next one too, we have one more breath practice I wanted to share with you all. And it's something that has also really helped me, because I'm a naturally anxious person, and I am also a perfectionist. So those those fuel each other, which is never fun. And so something that I have been incorporating, you know, in my own daily practice, especially when I have a really full day with back-to-back meetings, or I have short deadlines, or even a lot to do, I found that just starting my day with this next pranayama practice, or incorporating it maybe during my lunch break or in between a meeting, I found it to be really helpful for me. And it's called the Brahmari pranayama. Brahmari is a Indian black bee, and it's called the buzzing bee breath. And there's different ways to do it. You know, they say that it can help better, it'll better manage if you're feeling frustrated or, like agitated, you can't quite figure out why you're on edge. It can also, help manage your anger. So, and, all of our emotions are healthy. They're all indicators of not only our internal landscape, but what the situation you're in. So, whatever emotion that comes up for you, know that it's valid. It's, it's an indicator of what's really going on, and it can then help you figure out what you want to do next to manage that emotion or feeling. So for Brahmari, this is one that they recommend you sit down and do it and not lie down. And then, of course, if you feel dizzy at any point, and of course, in adults, they say that if you are pregnant or have high blood pressure, you shouldn't really be doing this. It's not a good breath practice, but you're all kiddos, and I don't think any of you have high blood pressure. So this is something that we can practice. And I'll show it to you once, and then we can practice 5 rounds together again. So for Brahmari, you can sit up nice and tall, and you can use your thumbs and place them on top of that little knob that's outside of your ear. It's like the cartilage, and you can just gently press it in. Nothing too, don't push it in all the way or, close off your hearing. It's just a gentle push into your ear. And your other fingers, they can stay out here or they can rest on the side of your head. Or if you'd like, you can take your index finger, put it on top of your eyelids. Your middle finger can go on your nose. Your ring finger can go on above your lips. And then your pinky finger can go below your lips. And so gently start to press on those knobs outside of your ear. And just pause here, see what this feels like. And if you want to keep your eyes open, you can just remove all of your fingers and keep your eyes open, or you can keep your eyes closed and leave all your fingers kind of hanging out here in space. And so I'll show you one round. So you inhale in through your nose, and then create a humming sound with your lips closed out of your mouth. Pause. You can inhale again. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Last round. If you feel comfortable, you can use your palms. Just close your eyes, covering your face with your palms. Seeing how that felt. Noticing if a thought or feeling came up for you. Maybe nothing came up. No right or wrong answer in yoga. And if you'd like, you can slowly start to let your fingers trickle down your face, down your neck, your arms. Maybe you can squeeze your arms together, giving yourself a little hug. And then gently open your eyes. And then return to your natural breath. So that's something that I also really have found to be helpful for, you know, my morning meditation practice, and really throughout my day, if I'm feeling a bit flustered or if something happens at work and I, you know, can't put a name to what I'm feeling, but I know I feel really flustered or agitated. And it's a great way because they say that humming noise, you know, whenever we, you know, a lot of times if we're humming songs to ourselves, it, you know, helps us lift our mood, right? Or lift our spirits. And they also say that the humming noise that you create with your lips sealed uses all three parts of your mouth. And the other sound that's our sacred sound that uses all three parts of our mouth is Om, right? Because it starts at the back of your throat for O, Ah, And that the sound that we create for is similar to the buzzing bee sound, right? And so in a great way, or in a way that you almost don't think about, you're almost saying Om, which also, you know, for thousands of years, both, you know, in yoga and Ayurveda, that's the sacred sound that has shown that it can really help us not only connect deeply to ourselves, but to that greater universe around us, and feeling that connection reminds us that, you know, things are going to be okay. So the Brahmari pranayama is a really great tool for folks, as long as you don't have those contraindications of, you know, either being pregnant or having high blood pressure. And, you know, there's different ways to do it. You can keep your eyes open with your fingers hanging outside here or resting, or you can close off all of your senses, right? It's really whatever is most comfortable for you. And you can try different ways, because each day could be different, right? Like some days you want to have your eyes closed, and other days you want to have your eyes open. There's no really right or wrong way to do one of these practices. What the best way is the way that you'll know, because you'll sense a change in how you're feeling, or a change in how you experience the breath. And so it's really, really individual. So I hope that those two practices will help you, you know, as school gets busy, and, you know, as you know, your schedules maybe get busy. Those are definitely two practices that you can come back to.
All right. Thank you, Kirtu. I really appreciate it. Hi, Ralph. I know you joined in just as we were ending that, but the video is recorded. So if anybody wants to go back and see it, that'll be great. I wanted to just ask everyone how you felt, how, you know, if this was, yeah, exactly. Like, share your thoughts if you can.
I thought it was like kind of like a cool way to like unwind and kind of like relax for a second.
Yeah, you know, I actually, well, I tried in the mornings, but I also, I'm trying to be mindful not to wake up, you know, a person in the room, but it does help. I think it's a great way for me to start, but maybe I should do it before going to bed. That's a good idea, Soham.
Yeah.
Anybody else wants to share?
Yeah, thanks, Kirtana. I mean, it's really helpful, right?
Yeah, you're welcome.
So
quickly.
I think our biggest thing is to remember to be able to do these.
Yeah. And it's practice, right? I mean, I think that oftentimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to do everything a certain way, or, every single day. I think that it's always helpful to start small. So if you can commit to practicing it 3 times a week, right? Or even once a week, start really small and just say, I'm going to do 3 rounds of it once a week. And you'll start to notice that you will want to practice more, and then it becomes 3 times a week, 5, 7, and then you'll want to stay longer, right? So you'll want to do more than 3 rounds. So it takes, taking those baby steps is a really, really great way of, going easy on yourself and not putting the pressure to, get it right, or, do it all the time, because we all have really, really busy schedules, and, you have to give yourself that grace. So something that I have always really done that's helped me have a dedicated, pranayama practice, and is to, I used to put it on my phone, where, it gave me a little alert. It was an alarm basically saying, from 6:30 to 6:35, like, you have to do it. And so that helped me stay accountable. And then eventually I got rid of the alarm. And so now I get up and I have my routine, and I go practice. So, but again, it took me a while. It wasn't like right away. So that's something that you could do. Or even having, if you find that it's helpful before bed, then putting that as a reminder, right? Like, or putting it on a Post-it note, like on your headboard, saying, Sahavas, like 3 rounds, so that if you see it, your brain's like, oh yeah, I have to do that now. That's one way to do it. So yeah, definitely, starting small, and giving yourself that grace to make mistakes. And if you miss a day, that's okay. No one's gonna know. There's no test that you'll fail because you didn't do it. But you'll start to notice those tiny, tiny little shifts in how you respond to stressful situations, or how you manage a stressful situations. And you'll start to be like, oh, wow, like that's really helping. And then you'll, want to come back and practice more.
I have to give a disclaimer though. Sometimes I think, like I said, if we don't think about it, it's not going to help. You know what I mean? So it's a conscious effort, right? Because I think what people think is, oh, they look for the benefit when they're doing these things, which I think it'll come, but it takes time, to your point. Because I know they'll be like, oh yeah, I try practicing mindfulness, but it doesn't help. It doesn't do anything for me. But we don't know that. I think there's something that sometimes happens within that we might not even look at or realize.
Yeah, and it takes time, like, and there's other ways, like if Samavriti and, Brahmari pranayama don't work for you, that's okay. There's other mindfulness practices, right? There's, something very simple as, going outside in your yard and walking barefoot. Like, that's a mindfulness exercise. There's sitting on your porch or your deck and just like looking at the clouds pass by. Like, that's also a mindfulness exercise. It's something that helps you observe and connect to either yourself or something outside of yourself that you find really calming. Because I think that, like, that's the other thing. There's no one right way to practice mindfulness. And it really is very individual. And, it's also depending on our circumstance and where we are. And, or you can, when you are practicing pranayama, if focusing on your breath doesn't feel comfortable, then you can focus on where your hands are or where your feet are, like the contact that your feet are making to the ground, or the way your hands are placed on your legs or on your heart and your below your belly button. So like that tactile connection is also great. And then if you slowly are like, oh, wow, I'm noticing my breath, and you are comfortable, then you can observe your breath. And yeah, there's days that I, for whatever reason, like have a hard time connecting to my breath, and that's okay. Like I just come back to it and I practice again.
No, I agree. I think, like I said, we're all growing, and we'll trip, and we'll make mistakes, but I think the important part is to keep trying. Because it's not always going to be successful, to your point, but I think it's also sometimes, especially if there's something really heavy on your mind or whatever, no matter how much you try to focus on your breath, thoughts are going to overpower, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes. So.
And the whole point of, at least how I've approached meditation and pranayama, is not to empty your mind. I mean, yes, like, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali say, like yoga is the quieting of your mind fluctuations, right? But it's a quieting, it's not silencing, it's not erasing. So those mind fluctuations, those thoughts, those feelings are going to come. That's who we are. We're human, but it's, can you observe them and just say, oh, that's interesting. That came up. Oh, okay. That's over there. And maybe like not hop on with them and like go for the ride. Instead, just say, oh, they're there. That's interesting. What can I do about it when I'm done with my pranayama practice or my meditation practice?
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was,
You're welcome.
I certainly enjoyed it. Guys, the tweens, any thing you want to share with Kirtu before she needs to leave? What did Srinidhi and Srinika think? Hopefully we don't. Are you meditating, or are you there?
Yeah, we're here. It was nice. It was relaxing, and there were no thoughts in my mind, so there's like
Which
no
one did you like more, the Brahmara or the first one?
the first one.
Okay.
Samadhi.
Yeah.
I have to say though, the first time she taught this to me, I couldn't make that noise, and then I realized, oh, it's not like I'm blowing through my nose. It's just the internally you're making that noise. It's coming from
Me
within.
too. I didn't even know how to make the noise.
Yeah, I kept going.
And that's okay. Yeah. 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 Think of it as a humming noise coming out of your lips. That helps.
What
Well,
about
thank
you,
you so
Meher?
much for having me.
Anybody else? Meher, Soham, Sahana?
Yeah, I felt like both of them were like pretty relaxing and make me more aware of everything.
Are you
in the
guys
present.
thinking of incorporating these into your daily lives, perhaps? Because we all have stressors, whether you're in, kindergarten, or, or I should say 1, 2, all the way to, I don't know, 100 or more. Yes, Ralph, you have a question.
Kirtana, I know a few Kalavapudis. I know Manjusha. I've met.
She's my aunt.
Is she your mom or
She's my aunt.
Aunt.
Yeah.
I know you guys get together for music. I met her here. I'm in Texas. She was here with Dr. Muti. She was accompanying him here, and Manjusha played for us, and she played very, very nicely. I had the opportunity. We all went to a public play. The gathering was in the home of Baba lovers, Jerry and COVID brain here, his wives, his dear wives, the home, the Llewellyns, and they had a large home. There was a public thing, Dr. Muti, that was, went to a place, and the public, and their posters and advertising, and people came and listened. He did a presentation, a talk about Baba, and then we had dinner at that place. And I had to return home. But when we drove from the Llewellyns home to the public place, I wanted to stay in my car, not go, with other people. And all the other cars filled up because I had to come home quickly. Others people were spending the night, making it a weekend occasion. And all the cars filled up, and Manjusha was left with that place. She jumped in the car with me. And on the way, she told me all about her life, growing up, her youth, and her family, and how Baba was there, and her how she was recalled Baba. And she said in the family, Baba would come to the home sometimes. They would go to Baba's darshan. She always felt that she never thought of Baba in the sense of one-on-one, her, she, and Baba. It was the family, or maybe she gave it very little thought. But on an occasion, Baba came to her school when she was just a young girl, and Baba was there for the children and the whole school, and they were gathered like, I presume, a large place. And Baba had Manjusha, pointed Manjusha, and had her stand up. And now my memory fails me what transpired between them, but Baba talked with her briefly, and then Manjusha says Baba was talking to me. And how now I knew Baba was mine. Because she said that's when I really came to Baba and began to feel a personal relationship with him. Yeah.
Yeah, you have a great memory. I think that was like over 20 some years ago when
My
GSM,
gosh.
almost 20.
I would doubt
Thank
if I'll
you for
ever
sharing,
forget
Val.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
thank
she's
you.
my aunt, or she's our aunt.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
both sisters.
Yeah, we're both sisters.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
too,
I'm
Shilpa.
Shilpa's sister. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do you see, because I was wondering, would be a very valuable tool toward improving one's voice control and singing quality, I would think, huh?
Yeah, I haven't read about Brahmari pranayama with vocal cords, but I do know, or improving vocal cords, but I know, for example, from the teacher training I've done, that reciting Om is incredibly helpful for not, of course, from a pranayama perspective and a yogic perspective, but I know that also it can help folks prepare for singing. I know that like a few friends of mine who are vocal coaches have, said that a lot of like some of the chanting, especially like chanting mantras, are also really incredibly helpful for, folks that are singers. But I myself have not tried that for that purpose. It's more for just the practical, I guess, the practical benefits of practicing it. But thank you for that share and the question. I'll have to do some more research.
So I know Kirtana has to,
That's an
buzz off.
interesting thought about you mentioned the vocal cords, but the quality of the sound, you're, because I came late, I haven't been logged into the Tweens, you tweeners for very long here today. So, but you were doing your presentation, and and then you were already like this, and but the sound quality was very pure.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I guess I can share this with fairly good conscience. Though in the past few months, I've begun working at singing because my sinuses are so bad and allergies. You don't sleep well, don't get good rest at all if we don't breathe. When we breathe well when we sleep. It's essential science, and I guess yoga too, very important to breathe through one's nose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure all the facets, but there have been volumes of books written about it and talk about it, doctors and other people. So, and I'm sure in opera it's gets a lot of attention. And I couldn't tell at times, I'm not sure. I'm thinking you're not going to get a sound breathing unless the air has some kind of contact one way or the other, whether it's gentle or hard or soft or rough with the vocal cords, because that's where the sound is made. But I'm not so sure that's absolutely true. I mean, your sound was very pure. And you mentioned that sound may or may not. I got the impression that you were suggesting sound may or may not actually be related to the vocal cords. Would you mind to readdress that for a moment?
So I will say I'm not an expert on vocal cords. But I feel that, with the Brahmari pranayama or buzzing bee breath, that because the sound is coming from the back of your throat and, going through your mouth, that, that's where the sound really originates from. And the sound of Om, which is, the sacred sound of the universe, usually to say or chant Om, you take a deep breath in, filling your lungs, and on the exhale is when you say Om. And so that's similar to Brahmari, which is, you inhale in through your nose with your lips closed, you then create that humming sound through your lips. But in terms of the activation of the vocal cords, I can't speak to that. I mean, I'm happy to look into it and share it with my sister, and she can share it with you all. So yeah, I hope that answered your question in part.
When you do your practices, are you cognizant, or do you think about the diaphragm?
Yeah, so
that's my indication. I sort of have to consciously, essentially touch base with the diaphragm to know if I'm really using my lungs.
Yeah, that's a great question, Ralph. So yeah, so there's another breath practice. It's just called yogic breathing, and that's diaphragmatic breathing, where, on your inhale, you really expand your diaphragm out side to side and front to back. And then on the exhale, you let your diaphragm come back in. So, and you don't feel your diaphragm, it's the expansion of your rib cage, left to right, front to back.
Yes.
Your diaphragm goes up and down. So on an inhale, your diaphragm gets compressed like an accordion. And then on an exhale, it expands back into its original shape. But oftentimes, you know, the yogic breathing is again another way. And, you know, kind of you missed the first breath practice that we did, Samartithi, equal parts breathing. That's also a way to tap into your diaphragm, is, you know, really, you know, going out and side to side to really expand your lung capacity, and then bringing everything back into that original position. But it takes practice, because we're not used to breathing diaphragmatically. We're naturally all chest breathers, right? Sort of that shallow chest breathing, but diaphragmatic breathing takes practice for sure.
It helped me to look at schematics and drawings, color code drawings of the esophagus and the sinuses, and where the neck and the pharynx. It kind of said, well, yeah, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. Or I decided, you know, I'm not there's a lot I don't think I'm using.
Yeah.
I don't feel that. So I started working at trying to get it up to the air flowing in and out of the nose more. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you for your really insightful questions, Ralph. Yeah, of course. And I will do some research, and I'll share it with my sister, and she can share it with you all. So.
All right. So I know you had to leave, Kirtu. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, I have a little one who's hasn't knocked down the door yet, but he may.
No worries. But I appreciate your time. I think we had a great session today. I just found out, unfortunately, Cathy was supposed to join, but she's having some connectivity issues. So we're going to have to table that. But I don't want to hold you up. I do have a little bit of time with the folks on the call. I did want to talk to you guys because we do have something coming up right soon, in another 2 days, actually. Does anybody know what that is?
Okay, you want me to go ahead and hop off?
You're good. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. And yeah, it was an honor to be here. So, you know, appreciate all of you for practicing with me.
Thank you, Kirtu.
Bye.
Wait, did somebody say it? What happened to all my guys? I think they're in meditation.
I think so, Shilpa.
The kiddos are very good at that.
They went into deep samadhi.
That's true, Shilpa.
Sia, you can speak up. Hi, Sia.
Hi.
How are you? Yeah, you typed it in. Amartithi. You don't have to type to me directly. You can speak up anytime. So I know we have a little bit of time, and unfortunately, like I said, Cathy couldn't make it today, but I want to schedule something with her in February. And there's also another announcement that I want to make. I need 2 kids, if we can, because we had, I'm trying to see if we can have an interview session like we did with Tom Riley back in the day, to do it with Pratapji. I don't know how many of you know Pratapa here, but he is in India. So unfortunately, this time doesn't work for him to be here. But I was hoping, you know, I'm trying to coordinate a day with them so we could like do a quick interview and come up with a list of questions, and then, you know, they can come and present here what their interview was all about. So anybody interested in it? Now, just a reminder that we may have to coordinate. We'll have to coordinate, especially if you're on the West Coast, with India and East Coast. So it can't be too late for them, and it can be too early for you guys, right? So just let me know who's interested, and you know, we can move on. It doesn't have to be now, so you don't have to commit now. But we are trying to interview him the week after Amartithi. So I believe it would be the February 5th week on the Sunday. Okay. So I will put it in the email or in the WhatsApp chat to your parents, and you know, it'll be great. If we can work something out. Okay. With that said, who knows what Amartithi is all about?
It's the day that Baba died.
Right, the day he dropped his body, right? So when spiritual people pass away, so to speak, we say they drop their body because they're going back to the universe. They don't come back, especially like Avatar, right? He does not come back like we do and reincarnate. So cool. Thank you, Sia. Yes, sir. Okay. And there is special, I don't know how many of you are going to be watching Amartithi programs starting tonight, I believe, which is the 30th morning in India. But I had some pictures that I wanted to share that somebody actually sent from one of the first Amartithis. This is how the crypt looked back in the day, and these are all the people gathered. Can you see it? Oh, that's not Amartithi. That's and this is how the crypt looked back in the day before the slab. So yeah, and there's Baba's picture right there. And I think before this used to be, I don't think this was a window until they, you know, I think it was a window. Let's go this way. Yeah, this is covered now, right? We don't have that. There's that big painting of Baba. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Now let's figure out, so I'm going to see if Cathy can come back in February. What are some of the weekends that work for you guys? Let me know. Not everybody speak at once. You're talking, Srinidhi. You're on mute.
I was talking with my sister.
Okay. No, I'm saying in February, like, I think we're going to have to figure out a weekend. So it also is coming close to Baba's birthday, right? So I think I'll talk to Cathy, see if we can come up with a weekend. But anybody have anything already that's obstructing that we can't say, we have to say no to?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. So I will put it in the group, but I hope you guys had a good time. Any last words before we say goodbye? And what did you guys think of today's session?
It was good.
Yeah. You think you might be using some of those practices in your daily life, perhaps? Meher, what's up?
Yes, I thought the session was like pretty relaxing.
Yeah. Meher, you're a pretty relaxed guy. Do you think you're going to be using the breathing technique so it'll help you?
Occasionally.
Occasionally. Yeah. All right. So maybe we can, whenever we're anxious or nervous or, think that we're going to be getting angry, maybe we can try one of these breathing techniques, right? Maybe walk away and take a deep breath. Yeah. So I really wanted her to come today and speak to you guys because, it's the new year and everybody is in school back again after the holiday that we had. And I want to make sure you guys had some tools in your toolbox to deal with, daily stressors. So with that said, we'll see you guys back in February. Hopefully I can coordinate a time with Cathy. Otherwise, we'll figure out a date. Time we already know it's going to be a Sunday, but we'll figure out our next Sunday. Yeah. Do you guys have a Sunday in mind that you want to make it? Okay. So then I can pick one. Right?
For Cathy or Peggy?
Oh, Pratap can't join. It's like 2 in the morning in India or 3 in the morning.
You would have to change it to your time.
No, we're gonna do a video. We're gonna do it
Oh,
another
video.
time and then play a video. Yeah, that's what we're hoping to do. So, all right, guys. Well, you have a great rest of the week, and thank you for all your time. And I hope to see you in about a few weeks. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Bye.
Bye, Shilpa.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.